My son went no contact with me, and it haunts me that he said I chose his stepfather over him. I divorced when my son was 11. We had 50-50 custody, and I thought we were doing okay. 2 years later, I married Douglas. From the start, they never clicked, but I convinced myself it was normal stepfamily adjustment. It started small. My son would grab a snack from the fridge, and Douglas would make comments about asking permission first. Or my son would forget to turn off his bedroom light, and Douglas would lecture him. I'd pull Douglas aside and tell him to ease up. Then I'd tell my son not to take it personally. The comments got worse. Douglas would criticize how my son dressed, called him antisocial for being quiet at dinner. When my son tried talking about his interests, Douglas would change the subject. I kept making excuses. Told my son Douglas was stressed from work. Douglas eventually admitted he disliked my son, said he was too awkward and introverted, that it was already enough that he tolerated having him around. He suggested I cut down visitation time. I said no, but started making sure they had minimal interaction. I prioritized my marriage. Friday date nights were sacred, couples weekends every other month, 2 or 3 couples vacations a year. Family vacations happened maybe once a year. I told myself I was maintaining my marriage because my son would eventually leave. Douglas would be the one still there. When I got pregnant with our daughter, Douglas backed off criticizing my son, but the damage was done. My son became completely distant. He'd come for custody weekends and spend most of the time in his room studying. I tried talking to him, but he'd say everything was fine. He threw himself into school, got a huge scholarship to our state university, took out loans for the rest, insisted on paying his own living expenses, said he wanted to be independent. Winter break of his freshman year, he was supposed to stay with us for 3 weeks. I'd bought ingredients for his favorite meals, set up his old room. On the day he was supposed to arrive, I got an email instead. No phone call. Just an email that started with, "I'm not coming home." He wrote that he'd spent years watching me choose Douglas over him in 1,000 small ways. That every time Douglas criticized him and I told him not to take it personally instead of making it stop, I was choosing Douglas. Every date night that took priority was choosing Douglas. Every couple's vacation was choosing Douglas. He said watching me prioritize my marriage taught him what love looks like, and it doesn't look like what I gave him. He wrote that he used to make excuses for me in his head, tell himself I was doing my best. But his roommate's parents drove 6 hours just to take him to dinner on a random Tuesday. His friend's mom FaceTimed him every Sunday, and he realized other parents don't make their kids feel like they're in the way. The part that destroyed me was when he brought up the weekend I missed his high school academic awards ceremony because Douglas had planned a surprise anniversary trip. My son placed first in state for math. I found out from a Facebook post his dad made 3 days later. When I called to congratulate him, he just said thanks mom in this flat voice and got off the phone. He wrote about the time I asked him to stay at his dad's an extra weekend because Douglas wanted us to have alone time. About the time I told him he couldn't bring a friend over because Douglas needed the house quiet. About the time I canceled our lunch plans because Douglas surprised me with concert tickets. He'd been keeping count of every single time. He wrote that he'd rather have no mom than one who stood by while someone made him feel like a burden. That he was done pretending we had a relationship when I'd made it clear where his place was in my priorities. That every choice I made told him he was optional. The worst part was the last line. He wrote thanks for showing me exactly what kind of parent I never want to be. I'm going to do better for my own kids someday. That was 4 years ago. I've sent emails, texts, letters to his apartment. He never responds. His dad says he's doing really well, but refuses to discuss me. Says it's not his place to force reconciliation. I found out through mutual friends he graduated last month with highest honors. Got accepted to a PhD program with full funding. I wasn't invited to graduation, didn't even know the date. My daughter, who's 5 now, asks about her brother sometimes, wants to know why he doesn't visit. I don't know what to tell her.